For today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to install these beautiful E92 M3 carbon fiber side skirt extensions. Now, if you have any other E9X chassis, this tutorial will pretty much also work for you since the instructions are very similar for pretty much all of these cars. But let's go ahead and hop right into this video by starting at the bottom of the car. Now, the first part to installing these side skirts is actually removing this bottom panel right here. And it's actually very easy to do. So all you got to do is remove these plastic screws at the bottom. You just need a 4mm hex like this attached to a socket, and you just remove these along the bottom of your car. Now, some models may have some also on the side of this rocker panel as well, but for my car, it's just along the bottom here. Now, once you remove those plastic screws, you will typically also have an 8mm screw right here at the end near the rear wheel. For some reason, it is missing on my car, but once that is done, we can go ahead and head on to the inside of the car. Now, if you have an E90 or E91, you can skip this part, but for the E92 and the E93, basically the coupes, this side panel sadly does come into the interior. To pull this panel off, and it is connected by clips. All you gotta do is pretty much pry it out from the sides right here and try to be really careful not to break any of these really easily breakable plastic clips at the bottom. Now that I've pulled the whole panel off, as you can see, none of the clips actually came out. The same thing happened to when I did the driver's side. They all stayed in, which means it's good. We didn't break any clips, but that does mean we are gonna need a trim removal tool, and we're gonna have to wedge it underneath the clips and pull them out. Now, for these plastic clips, they are really thin. Be careful not to break them. You have to kind of lift it up with your fingernail and then pull it out, and they do pretty much pop out. So try to keep track of these because we are going to need them when we are reinstalling this panel. Now, when it comes to removing the panel itself, you have these black clips that go across the whole entire panel. Again, this is only for the coupes. You can skip through this if you don't have a coupe. We just pretty much wedge a trim tool in between it, pull it out. Come on, I'll do it with my fingers. There we go. See, it's a pin in the center right there, if my camera can focus, and then that actually loosens up the clip, and then this whole thing can actually come right out. We have to remove all of these first, going across the whole entire panel. Now, once all those steps are complete, you pretty much just wiggle this whole panel up, and then you want to line it up with your side skirt extension. And then what I typically do is I take some binder clips and clip them together just to line it up so we can start drilling. Now, as you can see here, I have everything lined up perfectly. The fitment is really good on this. Binder clips holding it in at the top of the bottom, and then we can start drilling. Now, for actual drilling, I am using a 1/4 inch drill bit here, and then I'm using 1/4 inch screws by 1.5 inches. I realize these are actually a little bit too long. You can probably get away with 1/4 by 1 inch screws, so they're not sticking out from the top too much. Now, if they are, it still doesn't have any issues. There's actually a lot of space underneath the car when installing these, but let's go ahead and get started here. Now, I am going to be using 5 screws on each side. I will say that's a little bit to the lower side. 10 might be a much better idea. We're gonna drill these holes as inward as possible towards the side skirt and also spread out along the whole thing evenly. And once our holes are drilled, we can actually secure our bolt by sliding it through and then putting the nut at the end, making sure our side skirts are installed properly. Now, after you finish that, you can actually reinstall these side skirts. Now, installing these is almost impossible to film. It is 100% a two-handed job. However, there are some tools that could really help you. Jacking the car up a little bit does help. Make sure you're jacking it perfectly on the jack up point and not actually on the side skirts or this panel whatsoever. I began by actually installing those first, clipping, of course, the panel back in with these side clips right here. I never showed actually pulling these clips apart because they're different for every single car. It's actually 3 different style clips I've seen BMW use for this generation for the E9X platform. But of course, clip this side part back in, then install the plastic ones at the bottom, and then of course work your way into the interior with that trim tool. Now that those side skirts are installed, we're going to go ahead and install these rear bumper carbon fiber extensions. These go along the rear bumper. It's a pretty easy install. You haven't really pull anything apart. You're just pretty much drilling holes and then screwing them into the rear bumper at the bottom, and these do complement the side skirts very well. Now that we're at the rear, the first part to actually installing these extensions is actually removing these 2 8mm bolts right here. You're supposed to have 2. I guess the previous owner was doing some work back probably with installing this diffuser, and he must have maybe lost one and installed some regular Phillips head screws. I'm not sure why he did that, but yeah, for a normal car, it's just 2 of these 8mm nuts right here. Now, once that's removed, you want to go ahead and pull this trim out from underneath here to give yourself a little bit more space. Then we're going to go ahead and mock our trim up and get it exactly where we want it. And while we're holding it in, we're going to go ahead and drill our holes. Once I drilled my holes, I went ahead and installed the screws. And as you can see, this thing is in here perfectly. Now, when it comes to installing the screws, I do recommend, if you are using the same 1/4 inch screws as I do, you can use a 1/4 inch wrench or an 11-inch wrench to actually like secure it in from the top right here, and then screw it in while you have this over the nut at the top. And again, I couldn't really do that while filming because it's a two-handed job, but it is in here very secure with only 2 screws. I mean, this is not going anywhere. And you can also use some 3M tape if you want to hold it in place better while you are doing all this. Here are the brand new carbon fiber side skirts. And I have to say, especially with the rear side skirt extensions, these look truly amazing. You have to be careful stepping in the car, but besides that, just the look when you look over the car, even from far away, it definitely gives the car a lot more of an aggressive look that I definitely like a lot. Let me know what you guys think, especially from the rear end too. I already had the carbon fiber diffuser. I'm lucky that that actually came with the car when I got it. But the combination of that carbon fiber diffuser and those side skirt extensions in the rear definitely give it a much more aggressive look, especially the way it flows over that rear tire like that. But let me know what you guys think. I definitely think it was worth it. One of the more cheaper mods I've actually done to the car so far, besides the tail lights, but I think this definitely does give the car a much needed look that it really deserved. Definitely makes the whole car look a lot more aggressive. But let me know what you guys think. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and if you really care, hit that beautiful subscribe button. Peace, guys.